Hi, welcome back to the third episode of the Active Podcast. I'm joined with my two good friends, Ewan and Sam, and we're here to talk about football stuff again. Yeah, I think it's going to be a great podcast. We've just finished watching the Chelsea game, so it is 10 p.m. at night, but we're still committed.
Yeah, I mean, can I just go on a rant about this Chelsea game before I start saying nice things? I know we won 3-1, but oh my days, it was appalling. I mean,
it was...
Loftus-Cheek was... how are we playing Loftus-Cheek and Cam over a 70 mil Cam? How's that happen then?
I think what it is because you've got all these new signings, but you have to get a feel for who is better, because he's giving the youngsters an opportunity now to fight for their place, like Mount, like Loftus-Cheek, to see if they can actually fit better than these new £100 million signings, which I think is fair.
Nah, but I agree, but don't play Havertz out of position, because I'm sorry, you could tell from his face his confidence was gone. He couldn't make a pass.
He can't have his confidence shot from that game. It's only his first game in a Chelsea shirt. I mean, he's gone from tearing up the Bundesliga to one of the hardest leagues in the world.
I mean, I don't think it'd be great for him. I mean, you're expected to be an amazing player, and you misplace a pass by a mile. You're constantly getting tackled. I just don't really think... Well, it just wasn't good for him, unfortunately. I mean, to be fair to him, it is, like you said, it's his first game. You've also got to look at his age. He's only 21, so he's got plenty of time, and he played out of position, so that's a bit.
It's kind of crazy how young this Don is, because when you think of like youngsters at your normal club, he's younger than a lot of them. I think he's younger than like Nketiah at Arsenal, which is like crazy because the amount of money they spent for him, and the amount he did in the Bundesliga is just mad. So I can understand why there's hype around him for being that young. You look at like Mbappe as well. Yeah, he will. Of course he will. He's got the skill for it, and it's just how long it takes for him to adapt to the Premier League, because it changes depending on different players. Some of the best players you see now didn't have the best first season.
Yeah,
we can only hope.
I thought Timo Werner was impressive though. Overall.
Oh, Timo Werner was.
He did.
He was on
his service was the service he was getting was shocking.
He looked energetic. He was making some good runs.
Fast. He's rapid. I didn't know it was that quick.
Where it was him and Loftus-Cheek on the counter attack.
Yeah. Oh god, and he had to bottle it like that. Let's talk about that chance for a second, because that was wow. Like, it's 2v1. I don't even remember who his centre back was, but he wasn't quick. And
it's Ben White.
Literally. Was it Ben White? He's not that fast. No. Loftus-Cheek could have either gone a second earlier, or even a second later, and Werner probably would have got the ball, and it would have been another goal.
I mean, that's the position you want Havertz in, really. I know he couldn't pass the ball this game, but I think that could have been a simple pass for Havertz to make that he's capable of, get the assist, and he's all of a sudden he's got his first assist in the Premier League. His confidence is there. But no, flipping Loftus-Cheek was in that position instead.
Well,
I think the thing
sorry, go on.
Is as well with new players is that you need fans. It's really important. Fans are. You get that sort of experience. You get that sort of trust of the fans, and you relax a bit more. And because you don't have that nowadays, it's a bit difficult for new players, especially young players, to adapt to new leagues.
Yeah, and then can we talk about the goal that we conceded?
It was a banger. I don't know what you were going to do there, because it's Leandro Trossard.
It's gone under
he's a quality player.
I'm starting to think that Kepa's main issue is his physique. Like,
I
don't even think it's his.
For that?
I
got it in the corner.
Nah.
You can't. You can't.
No,
because it's such a good goal.
It went under his arm.
No, but he's dived for it. He's done his best. The fact that he's got there in the first place is good enough.
Nah, a taller keeper's getting there.
No, I don't think many keepers are really going to get there. At that corner, at that kind of angle, he's curled it, bottom left-hand corner. I was quite surprised when I saw the replay, Kepa actually got a hand to it, because I don't think... It was more of just like a reflex dive than anything. So I honestly think it was a fair goal.
Other than that, I think he actually had a decent game. I think you could see that he was fighting for his place. You can see that the criticism of you're not demanding your area, you're not coming out for crosses. You can see some glimpses of him trying to portray that he's capable of it.
I'm just not sure.
There's that new guy that they're trying to sign, aren't they? So he has to sort of like step his game up.
Yeah.
Really, there's that. Is it Mendy? Is his name?
Yeah.
Mendy. Looks like that's on the verge of being completed.
Yeah, it's gone quiet. It's gone really quiet.
I reckon, everybody was reporting
it will
it's
happen.
Pretty much done.
I think it's
just
done.
Sorting out, the final details on the fee and stuff, but
yeah, it's gone to the bit where Havertz has went quiet for a bit. It's gone to that stage.
Yeah,
and then the only other thing I've got left to say about that Chelsea game is the two right backs from either side.
Oh, what a game! I feel like Reece James saw the tweets about Lamptey at half time and was like, "No, I'm the best right back." And then he scored that banger in the second half. It's crazy.
Reece James had a really weird game. There were certain things that he was doing wrong, but certain things he was doing really well.
I honestly believe he could genuinely be one of the best right backs soon, English right backs. If he really steps his game up. Trent hasn't had the best start. I haven't seen enough from Wan-Bissaka yet, obviously. But, like, his attacking-wise, like, he looks really strong. When I saw him come up, especially in the second half, when he was really coming up and getting them in, especially to, like, Werner, linking up with him, he looks quality. And I could just imagine him in, like, the England setup with Sancho, Sterling, Kane. Like, he'd look deadly.
Yeah, he's really quick. Good. He's really quick.
He is.
And
he is
strong.
Really fast.
He
which helps the defence, doesn't it? Yeah, it's a total package.
But so that goal was an absolute stud. I mean, he's been hitting those for the whole of last season. Every now and again, you see him hit those shots, and he did it to against Man United, and De Gea parried it out. But he's been taking those shots, and he could definitely hit them. But then again, on the other side, Lamptey, what a player!
Wow! Why did you let him go?
Fantastic.
Absolutely, got an assist as well. He was the assist to Trossard.
In my FPL team, get in.
Yeah, is he actually?
Yeah,
I might have to switch because Trent hasn't started very well.
Yeah,
but the runs he was making, like driving runs. He was the most creative player on the pitch by a mile.
He ran out of energy, which I was really he just was getting up and down the field constantly for the full 90 minutes.
I'd have given him man of the match, even though they lost.
100%.
But he was really showing to Chelsea why they shouldn't have got rid of him. But then at the same time, when he's performing at Chelsea, is there really a space for him when you've got Azpilicueta and Reece James coming through?
Azpilicueta, it's only really going to be him and Reece James.
But when you've got two youngsters that's I think they're near enough the same age of Reece James and Lamptey, you've really got to choose which one you want. And at the time, Reece James was performing.
I think, at the end of the day, you won't lose too much from not having Lamptey at the club, considering you've got Reece James. He'll probably be you top right back for the next 10 years. So, I don't think you'll have too much regret in letting Lamptey go, but he's definitely got the potential to be a top Premier League right back in a couple of years' time.
Oh yeah, definitely. So.
How about we move to the Arsenal game, the actual only real interesting and dominant game so far in this game week? You're laughing, but you know it's true.
Fulham.
I don't know.
You played Fulham.
Interesting game.
It's true.
We've had a few pretty interesting.
Okay. Dominant game, the most dominant game because we absolutely battered them.
I probably agree with the most comfortable performance.
Yeah. Yes.
It was Fulham.
So what? You just played Brighton and. I don't know. Listen,
we scored the same amount of goals as you.
It was a derby game, but we didn't concede, so shut up. And it was a derby game because it was in London, so that means it's big, and we smacked them. It was beautiful. All the goals were beautiful. Willian was beautiful. Thank you, Chelsea. Oh, it was stunning. It could have been an assist hat trick, but the first one didn't count apparently. So his first assist. Because it's like a scuffle in the box, which like as it finished. But other than that, he was class.
I mean, to be fair to Arsenal, it was a class performance from them. I am going to keep on sticking in there that is against Fulham, and last time you beat them 5-0. But to be fair, it was a great performance. Willian doing what he did at Chelsea, starting the attacks, getting the assists. He is an amazing player, and for you to get him on a free is ridiculous. I don't know why we didn't re-sign him.
We needed someone like him as well. Like to have someone like that creative, like you could sense it. We didn't have that much creativity in the team since Prime Özil or like maybe Sanchez.
He was really driving
and for him to
as
just
well.
yeah, he was starting a lot of attacks. He did a lot of recoveries, and then he was making some of these sick 40-yard passes to Aubameyang, like the one that that Aubameyang scored from, where he cut inside and just smacked it top bins.
I'm
like,
just saying
those kind of passes.
That's Chelsea's doing. That's half of our game. Chelsea playing the ball to the side. That's where Willian's learned that.
But yeah, I think the other impressive debutant was obviously Gabriel, centre back.
Big
he
man
scored on his debut, but that wasn't really the only impressive thing about his performance. I think some of the stats that I looked at for the game, he had the most touches of any player on the pitch. He had the most passes completed of any player on the pitch, and of course he kept
95% pass accuracy.
So you can tell he's got that ball playing ability as well as the defensive ability.
Which we needed again.
Really impressive.
Yeah, we needed that again because we didn't have like quality ball playing centre backs. We had like Socrates couldn't pass to save his life. David Luiz was okay, but he's past his best. Rob Holding was still learning, but Gabriel seems like he's starting to become like his prime. We've got him at a really good age, and he knows what he's doing. Which
you played 5 at the back, didn't you?
Yeah,
3 at the back.
That's how dare you? Centre back, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I've noticed how they're doing it now because he actually plays centre back for Scotland because obviously Andy Robertson. Yeah, but what they do is essentially Maitland-Niles and Kieran Tierney they swap every once in a while. So like he'll make a run up and then Maitland-Niles will stay back, and then vice versa, which is cool.
You got to give credit to Arteta for that kind of tactical versatility that both of those players have got in their game. And the other thing you've got to give Arteta credit for is the way that Arsenal were they just seemed much more confident and comfortable playing out from the back. I was watching them play it around, and like last season, particularly under Emery, I would have been nervous that they were going to pass the ball to one of the Fulham players. But
it was like at Watford we did it. Do you remember the Watford game when I think it was Socrates passed it straight to Decore and he just banged it and made it 2-2. It's like that kind of anxiety is gone now. Everyone seems to have their head switched on. Like positioning, no one goes out of position. Everyone stays the way they should be, which is really cool. I love it. So you're 100% right with that. I think Arteta's doing magic at Arsenal. Right now.
Yeah.
Okay. But can they do it against a bigger team?
100%, 100% we can because we've already done it. We've already beaten pretty much the entire Big Six already. And he's been here for 6 months, so I think we'll be okay. We haven't lost to Liverpool, so
you guys have had your chance to rave about your team. So I want to take my.
Go on. To be fair, West Brom had a good game.
You shut up. The first 10 minutes of the Wolves versus Sheffield United game was pretty much the most un-Wolves-like performance I've ever seen. Last season, we scored 2 goals in the first 15 minutes of the game across the entire season.
That's a mad stat.
That's not nice.
This game, we scored 2 minutes. 2 goals in the first 15
2 minutes?
2 goals in the first 15 minutes in one game. So we've already matched our tally in that time frame from last season.
So that's it. You're not allowed to score again in the first half.
No more.
That's not allowed.
But the 2 goals as well, particularly the first goal, is just a lovely counter-attack. Podence picks up the ball on the left-hand side, goes past the player, and he just picks out a perfect pass into the middle for Raul Jimenez, and the finish from Raul Jimenez is disgusting.
I haven't seen the goal, but you can't dispute that Jimenez is one of the best strikers in the league.
He's one of the deadliest finishers. You have to say. You can't say one of the best strikers. Like his finishing is one of the best.
No, I'd put him up there as one of the best strikers.
I think you got to.
At the end of the day, a striker's job is to score goals. A striker's job is.
And I know you guys didn't watch the match, but it was on full display in this game. The hold at play, these flicks. He put in a couple of good dribbles, and he came close a couple of times with some really spicy efforts.
He's a classic number 9, isn't it? Really, he's a very good sort of like number 9. He holds up and he's physical like that, so you're not going to body him off the ball.
But he's got a lot more technical ability as well than your kind of traditional big man up front.
He
really did show that with his finish. It's like on the volley, just side foots it into the top corner from pretty much the edge of the box.
So what were your
lovely.
What was the front three?
It was
Jimenez,
Raul Jimenez, and Pedro Neto started up front.
Oh, okay.
Adama
No
Traore.
Adama?
No, he played at right wing back because we have a bit of a...
Oh, yeah, you have an issue there, don't you?
Although
you might need...
the youngster Oscar Burr did come off the bench later on in the game, and Adama moved further up forward, where he was definitely more effective.
So who were the goal scorers then? Jimenez
and Romain Saiss.
I saw someone predict that on Twitter, like yesterday.
I saw the same tweet as you. Actually.
It was so weird. This guy said, feel like a Saiss header and a Jimenez goal or something, which was insane.
Yeah, it's weird.
Maybe you guys are just that predictable.
Numbers.
Yeah. I want to know. I thought you guys are just that predictable, but of all things,
he can buy me a lottery ticket. He can.
100%.
But yeah, Saiss goals. It's a pretty easy goal, to be fair. It's a very free header, very poor marking from Sheffield United. But the ball in for Pedro Neto is really good, and it is a class header. Just plants in the top corner. And he could have had a hat trick actually, Romain Saiss, because he had another really good headed chance which went just wide, and then later on in the game he found himself caught up in the middle of a counter attack. Jimenez plays him in, and his shot is saved onto the post. So,
wow.
A bit of a dynamic attacking performance from Romain Saiss, the legend himself.
So would you say that Sheffield's defence is a lot more shakier this year than it was last year? Because that's what kept them.
I think people are starting to figure them out now, because when they first came in, their tactics were so weird. Like the whole overlapping centre-back thing I've never seen that before. And I think it's getting a bit old now. People are just like, okay, we know what they're going to do. This is how you beat them. So maybe that's what's going on.
Particularly in the first 10 minutes, they didn't really look like the Sheffield United we saw last season. They were much more open at the back, much more shaky in general. They grew into the game after that. They created some good opportunities, some good passing play, but the Wolves defence held firm. They never really allowed them to take advantage of some of their better spells of possession. And we just comfortably saw the game out. We had a couple of decent opportunities. They had a couple of decent opportunities, but really it was just the first 10 minutes. You could have watched the first 10 minutes and then just switched it off, and you wouldn't really have missed much.
Let's hope it's not a fluke for Sheffield United. I hope this isn't like a one-season wonder and they go down now.
You never know. It could be.
It'd be really worrying if that's the case. But just one last thing about Wolves. Nuno signed a new contract, right? He's signed a new 3-year deal.
Signing of the summer.
Which is big. That is signing of the summer.
Probably is, to be fair.
It's a big deal because he's been your best manager.
Best signing this season.
He has been your best manager for quite a while.
Obviously, love big Mick McCarthy over here. But in terms of what we've achieved, there's no comparison. Nuno has been our best manager since, I don't know, the 80s, the 70s even maybe. So
yeah, he's a class manager.
He is. He's worked wonders.
Where did he come from? What team did he come from?
His last team he managed before us was Valencia.
La Liga, yeah, Valencia.
Oh, okay. So he didn't come from a low...
Oh, no, it was Porto. It was Porto after Valencia.
Did he manage Valencia?
And then he managed Porto. He did manage Valencia,
He's managed big teams then before, so the going into the Championship
level of success.
And he also won the Champions League with Jose, right? He was the backup manager.
He was the backup
goalkeeper
when they won the Champions League.
Yeah. He's got a medal. He has a medal.
What a claim to fame.
He's got the medal.
It's in his cabinet.
Well, he's got his own claim to fame now.
On the subject of Mourinho and winning the thingy, could this be the downfall of Mourinho?
Sacked in the morning.
He's
getting sacked in the morning.
Season in the Prem.
It might well be.
I'm actually quite worried for Mourinho because I think he's past his best tactically. I had this conversation with my dad, and he's going to hate me for this, but I do think, with respect, I think he's a tactical dinosaur, and you see it with all these managers. It happens all the time. It is, isn't it? It's good. Like you look at the great managers of the past 20 years, and you look at Wenger, left on bad terms. I think Sir Alex left at a perfect time. That like he still had all the glory, and he was still the best. He was the best manager by a country mile in the Premier League. However, in his last game, 5-5 draw against West Bromwich Albion. So it was the beginning of the end. So he left at a perfect time. And I think Jose is now, I think it's starting to be his Wenger era. I mean, you can't lose to Everton at home with Richarlison putting in that disaster class. Like, it's worrying.
Oh, yeah. It was shocking. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys have been watching the Spurs documentary. From the way that they've positioned it and the way they've almost manipulated it, it looks like Mourinho's done an absolute masterclass for Spurs, and they're going to be on the rise this season.
They're going like a four game loss streak. It's like, oh, he's the best manager. Yeah,
commission a new season of that flipping documentary already.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
But it's a scary sight for Spurs. I mean, what big signings have they made?
I mean, they've done nothing. Really.
It's worrying. It's hard because they can't. They don't have that much money, do they? Because they've spent how many millions on that new stadium. Then they decided, we're still gonna splash the cash and they signed Bergwijn for a fair amount of money.
And Ndombele as well.
And Ndombele was huge, and he's
Celso
been okay. Yeah, they've spent money, and now they're still not reaping the benefits, and it's hard for Daniel Levy to convince him and other people higher up to spend that much money again, especially how much they've already spent. And now with COVID, they're losing even more money, and they need to get another striker apparently now. It's difficult. Yeah. It's very hard for them in this market as well.
They've got to get Champions League for them.
But they won't. But they're not going to get Champions League.
Not on this performance.
No way.
Not.
Oh no! But they need to be looking at aiming for Champions League, and if they don't do well in Europa League, it's if they don't get Europe, it's not good. To be honest, I think without Europe, Mourinho will be sacked. I think that will be the end of it if they don't get Europe.
Yeah,
because that's he was brought in to get European football.
He was brought in to get any sort of trophy, literally anything. So I think they might give him to the end of the season at least, to just maybe get like FA Cup or Carabao Cup. They just want to lift something. Like Harry Kane hasn't lifted anything in his career. Audi Cup, I guess.
When was the last time they won something?
I think they won a League Cup in like 2009, 2011, something like that.
It's been a while. Was it 9 years? I don't know. Either 2009 or it was 9 years ago. One of the two. It's getting a bit embarrassing.
2008.
Wow.
2008.
Tottenham's last trophy was 2008 Carling Cup.
Wow. It's not even called the Carling Cup anymore. Oh my god.
We won't mention who they beat.
Keep it at that. You guys love to lose finals, innit? I think we've beaten you 3 or 4 times in a final. You don't like Wembley, do you? Can't hack it.
No, it's. I think there was something about the fact that we have had 3 as our sponsor, and the Wembley was sponsored by EA.
Right, yeah, the rivalries. They rigged the game.
Curse from the start. But yeah, Spurs are not onto a good start.
Let's actually talk about the Everton game though, because we haven't actually said much about it. We've just talked about
Everton's performance is definitely worth a mention, and I think their new signings definitely shone. Unlike Spurs, I don't think Matt Doherty was that bad, but he
I think he was tragic.
That, but yeah, he didn't. He
played as right winger.
I'm a little bit biased.
He played as a right winger.
I do love him from his days at Wolves, but yeah, he kind of got torn apart by Richarlison, and if Richarlison had actually had his boots on the right feet, then
he'd be alright.
I'm all for it.
He was a better left back than he was a left winger, Richarlison, because every time he passed the halfway line, he capitulated. It was worrying.
Well, no, because he was getting in the right positions, and at the end of the day, he was comfortably had the beating of Doherty in terms of the sitter.
He didn't even need to try and beat him. He didn't need to beat him.
That sitter that he missed was my days. Like it was. I'm so glad I didn't have him in my fantasy, because if I did, I think I'd throw my phone. Like that was wow. Oh my days.
But Richarlison didn't actually have to beat him at all.
No, he was
already in the opposition's box.
Calvert-Lewin was at the back case as well, and he didn't even like there was just nothing there.
But literally, Tottenham were playing a 3 at the back, and then a random person on the right wing. It was that bad. Like at times, who was it that had to fill in? Who was in?
Højbjerg, wasn't it?
Yeah, Højbjerg came up quite a bit.
Højbjerg came turned to a right back at one point.
Yeah,
he was that far up the pitch.
He would have. I mean, that's how Doherty plays, isn't it? He's used to having to do that at Wolves when they're doing like a back 5. He's a wing back, so he's not a right back.
You're a professional footballer, though. You should be listening to your. Either there must have been no communication with the centre back as well. But if I'm a centre back in that position, I'm screaming at him, telling him to come back.
Yeah, I mean, it nearly paid off for him at one point. He pretty much had Spurs' best chance of the game.
Oh yeah, attacking wise, he was fantastic. But at the end of the day, he's a right back.
He is a right back, yeah. And
his job is to stop the wingers getting past him and scoring goals, not to score goals.
What did you guys think of the golden boy, Rodriguez, putting in?
He was brilliant.
A masterclass.
Yeah,
the way
he controlled that game.
The way he found Richarlison.
He was the man of the match, sure.
I think he made about 5 or 6 long passes.
World.
Like, wow, it was really good to watch. I really liked looking at him just play.
Don't we expect this from him though? I know he had an amazing game, but it's expected.
What actually confused me was the amount of people that didn't expect this from him.
I mean, how long has he been quiet
for?
Stats.
No, but looking at his actual stats from particularly his 2 years at Bayern Munich, he was consistently in the top 5 creators in Europe in terms of chances created, key passes. He's been doing that for years and years. And I think he's been really unfortunate at Real Madrid to just not be in Zidane's plans.
Yeah.
But he is genuinely a world-class attacking midfielder. And Everton
100%.
signed him for potentially, it's been reported, is potentially as low as 12 million.
Wow. They wanted to get rid of him that badly, really. It's a shame.
And on wages of only about 80k a week, apparently.
What? It's because he wanted to work with Carlo so badly. I mean, he was at his best.
He's had success
under
Ancelotti before.
Yeah, when he had that World Cup, I think it was under Ancelotti as well. When everyone started to know his name, I think that was under him.
But
I might be wrong.
To be fair to him as well, it's a new project for him as such. You go to a slightly not a low league team, but a comfortably mid-table team that have been mid-table for years,
but with ambitions of getting a much higher.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if he can do that with Ancelotti, with the other midfielders, Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison, they can break into that top 6 spot and then potentially move on. And then it's just all building this club back up.
Everton have actually done a really, really smart move, actually, by getting Ancelotti. They got him at a perfect time. They signed him on...
They didn't have to pay anything for him.
Yeah, no, exactly. Napoli didn't want him.
You didn't have to pay a buyout clause for Napoli or something because they just sacked him.
And then obviously with Ancelotti brings reputation. He's won so much that a lot of players want to work with him, which is why James has obviously come over. And same with Alan as well, because obviously he knows him from Napoli. Like, this is big.
And Alan played some of his best football under Ancelotti at Napoli.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that sort of pull brings a lot more than what you might just expect. Yeah. And not to mention he's a class manager. So I could see them really making a push for top 6 this season. Maybe next season if they get a few more signings. Because they've got money as well. They have a lot of money that people don't seem to realise.
So much money.
They would have a lot more for
They've wasted so much money.
Which is a shame.
In recent years.
It's a real shame they've wasted so much money because you think they're going to be good and then they're mediocre. Like the amount of money they spend for
some of the players they've signed spent so much money on. Gylfi Sigurdsson for 5 mil. He's an okay player, but these days all he does.
Last season was his worst. Season before that it was all right, but ever since then it's just it's fallen off.
Yeah,
real sad.
Yeah, but talking about midfielders, Thiago is still in the speculation of going to Liverpool.
Is it? I thought it was Juve now. I thought the there's rumours now that it's shifted to Juventus and they're doing a swap for Douglas Costa. Like he's going to go back.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Whoever signs Thiago is getting a fantastic bit.
I don't want to just wait until next season. What is the wait? What's the rush? Honestly, he's still going to be quality next season.
Or maybe that's why we're not seeing teams just go straight in and sign him now. Maybe that's why things are taking so long.
But I do think Liverpool could have done with Thiago in that midfield against Leeds.
Oh my god, that Leeds game!
That game was just. I don't know. I don't quite understand how it ended up.
Do you know what? Before the game kicked off, I was talking to my dad, and he said, number 1 fan by the way. He said, don't sleep on Leeds. They're gonna give him a good game. I was like, no, they've only just been promoted. I can't really see it happening. I think I predicted probably 2-0 or 3-0. And I remember checking the score later, and he texted me, he's like, have you seen it? And it was 3-3. It was crazy to see some of the things that are happening. Like Leeds they've just been promoted and they've spent little money, and they're coming for Liverpool.
They've got a decent team behind them. Their interplay was phenomenal at certain points of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, there were certain points where they just ripped Liverpool apart.
Yeah, they did.
Effect.
Van Dijk, what on earth was he doing?
Trent nearly scored an own goal if it wasn't disallowed.
Well, he did score an own goal. Nearly, he did, and then it was disallowed.
Lucky,
but
very lucky.
Can we just talk about this Van Dijk moment? I mean,
the hype's gone now.
I do understand what he's doing, and Alisson. I'm probably the only one, but Alisson is to blame in that situation as well. I mean, not as much, but a goalkeeper, he can see exactly what's going on. He can either come out, shout at Van Dijk to come and claim it, or just shout and tell him to get rid of it.
Yeah.
I guess you have so much trust in him to know what he's doing. You don't want to shout at him because usually Van Dijk 9 times out of 10 is going to know exactly what he needs to do in order to keep the goal safe, and this time he just didn't. So I can understand why he didn't say anything.
I don't even know what he was trying to do. I swear the pass wasn't even there that he tried.
No. It's hard because now you can't, because everyone used to put him in the same box as Vidic and Ferdinand, and now you just can't because he's had one amazing season. Last season was pretty good, and this season started off. He's okay. It's a bit worrying.
Well, I think Van Dijk is in, at the very least, he's in the top 3 centre backs in the world. But I think part of the problem is that he knows it.
Yeah,
definitely knows it, and that, to me, that mistake, it just seemed like arrogance. He was just so calm and so I can just flick this over my head or whatever he was trying to do, and he just messed it up completely.
He's whipped out some cool skills before that, so I get it.
But it's not even. It wasn't even just that mistake. He was out of position. He was playing people onside. He wasn't in line, and he's the captain of the team, isn't he?
Yeah.
So, bearing in mind, he's a centre-back that should be demanding his line anyway when he's got Joe Gomez. He's also the captain, so why on earth is he allowing either him to push up and no one else, or everyone to drop back while he's not? It doesn't make any sense. He shouldn't be doing that at all.
Yeah, I can understand it. Yeah, you have to give credit a bit to Leeds, though, because we've been talking a lot about Liverpool's mistakes, but Leeds have been doing a good job at finishing. Bamford surprisingly scored. I didn't think Bamford would do so well this season because he did all right in the Championship, but he's come to the Prem and he's scored in his first game in the Prem. But they've done good. You have to give him a little bit of credit as well. I had Rodrigo in my fantasy team alongside Origi, and neither of them started. Oh. And then when I saw him come on, Rodrigo came on. I was getting really excited, and then he gave away a penalty.
He did make an impact. He didn't make you were expecting.
Zero impact. I don't know. All my money was spent on my midfield. I've got KDB, Sterling, Aubameyang, stuff like that. So that's it. But yeah.
What was he doing, Rodrigo?
It was shocking.
It was just
the ultimate
lazy.
Striker's challenge.
It was lazy.
It was.
It wasn't looking.
For his first game in English football.
And he just... It was stupid. Although, I have to admit, as a Chelsea fan, I'm thankful that... This probably looks backwards, but I'm thankful that they won, because it means that they haven't got something massive to prove if they lost against Chelsea. Because... I'm pretty sure last time we played them, they lost a game before, and it meant that they've really had something to prove.
Is that their next game, Chelsea?
Yeah, Chelsea-Liverpool.
That'd be a good one.
That would be a good game. Actually, I'd be quite excited to see that.
Hopefully Pulisic is back.
Do you guys honestly think Liverpool are going to retain the title this season?
Nah, I've put them third.
I said in my predictions that I thought Liverpool were going to win the title, didn't I?
Ah, right.
And I'm going to stick by it for now, but my confidence is wavering.
I can't see them doing it again. I don't think they've signed well. I don't think the players are honestly have got their heads in it to win it again. I feel like we've won it once. We've done what we needed to do. That was what the fans wanted, and now we can go back to being Liverpool, and that's not good.
I don't know. I think you could tell there were certain players on that team who were absolutely on it. Mo Salah was electric.
I wish I had him.
I've never seen him so fast.
Yeah, he was quick.
He was on.
They couldn't deal with him.
If it wasn't for, it was almost like you Liverpool fans have been saying that Mane is one of the best players, or what is the best player over me. You know what? I'm showing you wrong. That is completely incorrect, and this is how I'll prove it.
I do think Salah is better than Mane, although obviously Mane is a world class winger. But I think Salah's even last season, when everybody was kind of hyping up Mane as like the player of the season and stuff. I think Salah had a better season, and I think he kind of suffers from his first season was so outrageously good.
Yeah,
33 goals, broke the goal scoring record of the Premier League, that he inevitably was not able to live up to those standards again.
My thought on it is he's just he almost seems too selfish. Which
I suppose
like as a winger, that's what you should be doing. But Mane's not as selfish. So I think that's why a lot of people lean towards him, because you see Mane getting the assists, the goals,
but
whereas Salah's typically just a goal scorer.
But at the same time, Salah got more assists than Mane last season.
Did he? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think if I'm remembering correctly, Mane was on 17 goals and 7 assists, and Salah was on 19 goals and 9 assists. So
because Mane doesn't like to pass to Salah,
there's not much difference, but I kind of definitely think Salah gets a bit too much flack sometimes.
Yeah, but going from a
it's because hang on, wait, one second, because remember when they had that scrap last season? I think everyone just like picked sides after that, and they're like, you know what, I'm a Mane fan now. Yeah. But yeah, sorry, Ian, you can have your segue again.
Going from a carnage game from Liverpool to Liverpool versus Leeds. What a carnage F1 race.
It was.
Oh my god.
It was Mario Kart. I have Coconut Mall going through my head. This was mad. There was red shells flying.
It's like the race just restarts. Like someone just chucks one of those flipping
banana peelers at
the back of the grid.
It was like having flipping 7 Brutons in the race.
My days.
It was horrible. Oh,
inside joke. No, I was going to get that, but we have no fans anyway.
But, it was carnage.
Can I whip out the stats real quick? Because luckily, another number one fan of ours, Dan Skidmore, shout out, he gave me some mad stats. So there hasn't been a red flag in F1 since Indonesia 2017. And now there's been 2.
There's only been about 5.
There hasn't been many. There's been 2 in 2 weeks. And there haven't been 2 red flags in a race since the Brazil Grand Prix in 2016. So it's very rare.
Yeah, sorry, no, that's what I meant. I think there's only, in total, in Formula 1 history, there's only been around, I think, between 5 and 8 double red flags in a race.
Wow.
Yeah. And I would like to provide a slight correction to Mr. Dan Skidmore. That would be Malaysia 2017.
Ooh, the stat man! Get him on the show! Get him on the podcast. You can scrap.
Come fight me, Dan. Fight me.
But it was carnage, and honestly, Jacob, I don't think you've had a more interesting start to watching Formula 1.
It's actually been so cool.
You just timed it perfectly.
I've actually timed it.
There were a couple of fairly boring races just before the Belgian Grand Prix, but
and now it's like NASCAR. There's like stuff flying around, cars breaking down,
absolutely unreal.
Pit lane mistakes, all sorts. The drama.
I wonder whether it is there's a slight bit to do with the fact that they haven't raced for so long, so small little mistakes are creeping in.
And also, at the end of the day, that most of them have never raced at this track. So there is that sense of it's a whole new thing, and they're not as familiar with it as they are with, say, Silverstone. And you could kind of see it, because you always think of the start of the race being like the most dangerous part of it, where there's most likely to be crashes, because there's all these 20 cars grouped up in the same place. But there hasn't actually been a crash at the start of the race, I feel like, in ages, like in over a year. I don't remember one from last season. There hasn't been one this season.
I can't remember what race it was. I'm trying to picture the I can picture the start line, and I think someone went over the top of Stroll.
What I think you're thinking of is a couple years ago at Belgium, and I think it was Alonso and Leclerc and Hulkenberg, maybe.
How does the stunt
that's what it
know
was.
the exact specifics of every single race?
Listen,
This is so weird.
It's an unbelievable crash, Jacob. You need to go and watch it.
Oh, it's on YouTube. Like,
Belgium 2015.
It's like
Crashes
crashes.
right over the top. It's actually terrifying.
Yeah, it's really nasty. And was that when Halos weren't there?
No, that was the first season of Halo.
What, those Halo, are you talking about those bars in front of
He
them?
would have had his head taken off.
Those went, that's kind of scary.
Yeah.
That wasn't a thing before, because like that's like a life-saving thing now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it's meant. I mean, you saw in the restart from the safety car how important that halo was when Giovinazzi went over the top.
That was scary. That was. He got sandwiched in between two cars and just got lifted up. It's crazy.
You raise me up.
But the cameras don't do it justice though. Like those cars are going, I think, is it 270 to 280 kilometers an hour?
Yeah.
So
is that how we do it in F1? Kilometers an hour. All right.
It's
Well, they do it in kilometers an hour. I don't.
I think part of it is it's quite difficult to put it in perspective because the tracks are so big and the cars are going so fast that it all seems a bit like, because the cars are going so fast, the tracks seem smaller, and because the track is so big, the cars don't seem like they're going so fast. I don't know if what I said made any sense whatsoever there.
No, I got you.
That, for example, the opening straight at Mugello is a full kilometre long.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Which is a long distance.
Little sprint.
So sorry, just putting in, just to go back to the speed, it's 270 kilometers per hour is 167 miles per hour.
Oh damn.
You don't realise how fast they're going because of just the scale in general of F1. You don't realise it. But the crash, can you imagine if you imagine you driving around in your normal car at 30 miles an hour and you crash?
It's very dangerous. Yeah, it's quite
These guys
scary.
are going at like, I don't know, 7 or 8 times that speed,
which is crazy.
It is mental. I mean, you saw signs shaking. I don't know what. Yeah. I don't quite know what he did to his hand, or what happened to his hand. But I know that he knocked it off the. I think the steering wheel and his car. He kind of knocked it off the inside of his car.
Yeah.
Which at that speed is going to work.
Yeah.
But it was just that whole situation was carnage, because Bottas, he did the right thing in terms of what would benefited him, but in terms of safety, it was the safety of it was just stupid, and I think we'll see the ruling changed on safety car restarts purely because of that crash. Because the big problem was halfway through the pack, there was a big gap. So after the corner turned, there was loads of space to accelerate. But as Bottas was obviously weaving and people were accelerating and braking, it suddenly, all of a sudden, slammed together.
Yeah. I think the first person who really initiated it behind Bottas was Magnussen, who was involved in the crash. Because he, through the corner, it looked like he properly went for it. He fully accelerated, expecting to, I suppose, for the people ahead of him to be accelerating, and they weren't. And he slammed on the brakes proper hard, and Sainz just smashes straight into the back of him. Because of course Sainz is behind him. He sees Magnussen accelerating. He's going to accelerate, and when Magnussen slams on the brakes, Sainz hasn't got time to stop.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of accelerating and braking, Ocon was doing it. It was that far up. Because you obviously can't overtake before you pass the finish line, or the start line, whichever one you want to call it. But so they were accelerating and braking, so that they stayed behind. And I mean, Bottas almost hit Lewis Hamilton down that main straight. He was weaving that much, so it was just a concertina effect. And just wait, is that the right
I don't know
word?
what that means, so I'm just going to pretend
word.
I know what it means.
Yes, English.
I've heard. I'm not going to lie. I've heard Martin Brundle and Crofty, the commentators, say that word so many times, and I still don't know what it means.
We should Google it.
Is it not just like concertina? As in like one after another? Like someone stops and it means the next person has to stop and they have to stop with a stop.
Yeah,
I think
so.
But I'm not the English expert.
You're on the right track there.
Yeah.
But that was one point of it. The first crash was whose fault was it? It was someone went into the back of
it was Gasly, wasn't it?
Raikkonen. Yes, Gasly went straight into the back of Raikkonen. And then Raikkonen went into Verstappen, and then obviously Verstappen just couldn't do anything.
Yeah, something like that.
Went off. And that would just seem stupid from Gasly. I don't know what, unless it was a lock-up or what was going on.
Essentially, but I mean, it's a way to bring Gasly back down to earth, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Winning his first ever Grand Prix.
Goes out the first lap.
Somebody actually, I saw someone bet like 20p on the standings last race on that exact like top 3, and they came back winning like 16 grand. It was insane. I didn't know how rare that was.
That's mad.
It's crazy. Sorry, Sam, I put over you, but carry on.
But yeah, that was 2 major incidents. So that started off the safety car. Then obviously after the safety car, we had the massive crash, which then meant it got red flagged. Then they started off again, and was it Hamilton? No, Bottas had a mad start over Hamilton.
Bottas had his mad start on the first original.
Oh yes, start. and then Hamilton went round the outside, didn't he?
It was Hamilton who made the better start and got the lead of the race.
Yeah. And then what was the next crash? What was the next big crash?
It was everybody was quite calm for a bit. You know, it kind of all leveled out, and you thought, okay, well, everybody's just, you know, just calm down, no more crashes, everything's good, and then all of a sudden, Lance Stroll is driving over the curb and picks up a puncher out of pretty much nowhere and flies into the wall top speed.
Yeah, that looked nasty.
It did look nasty, and to be honest, Lance Stroll sounded a little bit dazed, because I remember listening to the radio, his team radio after he crashed, and he was kind of silent for a moment. He goes, "I got a puncture."
I think I got a puncture.
So he just sounded a little bit out of it, but
no way.
But because of the damage to the wall, that led to another red flag for the session, as you mentioned, the first in a few years, and then from then on, Hamilton, he got the better start out of that, and it was his race from then.
In terms of starts, was it? I can't remember who it was now. I think it was Albon. He had a mad start after that.
Yeah, he did.
He just shot off.
Yeah, I mean, he was actually doing really well for a lot of that race. He qualified all right, but the very start of the race he struggled, and he lost some places. But then throughout the rest of the race, particularly after pitting, he was just flying up the rankings. He overtook Leclerc, he overtook Ricardo, got himself into 3rd place, and finally, after many attempts, no lack of trying, he finally is able to get himself his first podium.
Yeah, what a reaction to Gasly winning a Grand Prix. I don't think, well, you could ask for a better one. He could have won it, but in terms of, like, you've just seen the driver that you replaced win a Grand Prix in a worse car. Yeah. You've got to react somehow, and what a reaction from him.
Yeah.
To really show, and in fact, on the team radio at the end, he thanked the team for sticking with him.
Yeah, because you imagine after something like that happens, you got to think, well, how much longer are they going to keep faith in me when this guy that I replaced is in the second team winning races? So fair play to Red Bull for sticking with him, and fair play to Alex Albon for repaying their faith.
How does that work then? I had someone explain to me the other day, but it's like, so that you've got Red Bull and you've got Toro Rosso, right? So AlphaTauri now. Yes. So what is that? So it's like RB Salzburg and Leipzig kind of thing. Like you have like a B team in the same thing.
In a way, yeah. It's kind of a similar relationship. Red Bull own both
Red
teams.
Bull. Yeah, they've got a driver academy. Red Bull do,
and that's AlphaTauri.
Well, their driver academy, you know, they've got drivers in their academy racing in all different levels of racing, Formula 2, go-karting, whatever. But AlphaTauri is generally the team that they will promote their youngsters to first, to give them a taste of the Formula One
right.
before, kind of allow them to prove themselves before they jump into the big car. Verstappen spent some time in what was then Toro Rosso. Gasly did. Albon did. So it's kind of their little proving ground.
Did Vettel come through the driver academy?
Yeah, he did. And he actually was the last driver from that team to win a Grand Prix.
So what happens to the other Red Bull races? Because they can't. You can only have 2 races per team, so they have to leave, right? They just leave, just naturally.
Well, there's cases of essentially loaning them out to other teams. Mercedes have done that a couple of times. They've done that with George Russell. And in many cases, the driver who's been in the Red Bull Academy team for years will leave. Carlos Sainz was in the Red Bull Academy. He left. He's now about to join Ferrari next season. Ricciardo spent a few years with Red Bull. He's replacing Sainz at McLaren next season. So there's kind of former Red Bull students littered throughout Formula One.
Oh wow!
Yeah, but talking about the changing of seats, Vettel has finally got himself a seat for next year's Formula One. So he's going to Racing Point, replacing Sergio Perez, which is great. I say it's great. It's unfortunate that Perez won't or potentially won't have a seat next year, but Vettel being in the sport is just is what you want.
Yeah, he's a legend of the game. Even if he's had a few years where his reputation's been tainted. But I believe he has won the 3rd most Grand Prix of any driver in history. So he is a legend, and he's one of the greatest F1 drivers ever. He won 4 world championships in a row at the start of the decade. So you want to see him in the sport for as long as possible.
It's sad to see him at the back. Well, both of them, Raikkonen and Vettel, both racing at the back of the grid. It doesn't sound right.
It'll be weird to see that. It will be weird to see Vettel in a lower car, although of course Racing Point are one of the better cars on the grid this year.
I was going to say, you say that, he's probably actually a decent move going from Ferrari to...
I mean, certainly if you're basing on the cars this year, it's an upgrade.
Oh yeah. So yeah, that wasn't. It wouldn't have been nice to not see him at in a Formula One car.
The waffle.
I really butchered that. Yeah, I don't know
the amount of waffle he had there.
I'm tired, mate.
I'm sending you flipping syrup.
It's bedtime.
I think it is bedtime.
Yeah, but just one more thing, just on the word of his Vettel's teammate next season, Lance Stroll. There is a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people saying, Perez deserves to stay and Stroll should go. He's just, he's been on the end of criticism for years for being just a rich kid. But you have to say, this season he's shown with his performances that he is a top level driver. He's outperformed Sergio Perez in the car throughout the season. He outperformed him this race. He was unlucky to not be able to challenge for a podium at the end of the race. And it is also worth mentioning that, of course, Lance Stroll is very well financially backed by his father, who owns the team. But Sergio
Daddy's
Perez,
money.
It's not like Sergio Perez is in on pure talent. He actually does bring in more sponsorship money than almost any other driver in the whole Formula One, because he's backed by the richest man in Mexico and the man who's formerly who was at one point the richest man in the world. So,
is he his son?
Definitely, yeah.
Oh man, I didn't know that. Oh, okay.
But so yeah, Perez. There's definitely a very, very big financial upside to signing Sergio Perez as well. But it will be a shame if he doesn't get a seat for next season. But I expected some team to pick him up. Maybe Haas, maybe Alfa Romeo.
There's plenty of time.
Yeah, and there's plenty of options, I think, that will be open next season.
So, who was your driver of the day?
Anyone who finished. Anybody race? Who actually finished that race gets driver of the day. Because there was like 9 of them. No, I'm kidding. But
yeah, my driver of the day was Ricciardo, for the way he managed to fight and get past that many cars.
Yeah.
In a Renault.
Yeah, I've never seen like today watching him race was me understanding how crazy these F1 cars was, because he was behind. I can't remember who was behind now. But like he was behind him for a bit, and then all of a sudden he just like zooms past him. I don't know if he got drag or what, but like,
DRS.
It must have been DRS. But like, yeah, the amount of speed just picked up was crazy.
He's also known as the last of the late breakers.
Yeah, that is.
Oh, like he breaks late on the turns.
Years of braking very, very late into turns, making some overtakes that you wouldn't see many other drivers attempting. He's spent many fruitful years at Red Bull, got a very good reputation, but ultimately I think he kind of felt forced out by the way Red Bull prioritised Max Verstappen over him, which is a problem that has continued to persist with Gasly and Albon. But he's a class racer. He is one of the best overtakers on the grid. And he did show that today in a Renault that is pretty fast, but it's not super fast. And he pulled off some great moves. And in the end, he was unlucky that Albon had ultimately the faster car and was able to overtake him towards the end of the race. But he definitely deserves a shout for driver of the day.
Oh yeah, I mean he'll be in a McLaren next year with a Mercedes engine, so
yeah, that'll be exciting. But my driver of the day was the man who overtook him, Alex Albon. I think he deserves it for the persistence he's shown in the Red Bull. He hasn't given up, and he's finally got his reward with his first podium despite Lewis Hamilton's repeated attempts to stop him from getting one.
Yeah, I bet he was panicking then. Don't get me anywhere near Hamilton. Stay away.
Thank God Bottas is in between us.
Yeah, if I see a Mercedes going for me, I'm out.
But yeah, it's really good to see him up there, and I think he put in a really impressive performance.
So, Jacob, who have you gone for?
I was actually going to say, it would have to be Ricciardo, just because of what I'd seen. Like, mine is different just because it's helping me, like, watching him race is helping me understand how F1 works more. Like, seeing how his car works, seeing how he brakes, just, like, late braking, I didn't know that until you guys said it, but it's compared to everyone else, I can see it. And he just seems like a really entertaining racer. So
he is.
Yeah,
he's a really entertaining guy. He's one of the fan favourites on the grid for his antics.
Yeah,
it'll be fun to see him team up with Lando Norris next season.
Oh yeah, that'd be hilarious. That would as well. The entertainment. Just subscribe to the McLaren
YouTube channel. Yeah,
just plug them. They're going to be sick anyway. Honestly, right. Lando Norris and Ricciardo. That's going to be amazing to watch their YouTube videos.
Are we calling it here, or we?
I think it's probably
it's 11:15.
Yeah, just a couple of things to add though. On the channel, we've been adding clips to the channel. Just small little snippets of the large podcast. If you didn't want to watch the full podcast, go ahead and watch those. Also comment if you want to see more of those clips. If you're not enjoying those clips, let us know.
I hate it.
Feedback. Well, just any feedback is very muchly appreciated, especially because we're only just starting.
So only my daddy got this far. So.
Now I want to see that the comment from Dan Skidmore saying I made it.
A little test to see he actually made it.
Yeah. Just a little dig to make sure you heard the dig earlier on. I want to know if you're still there. But thank you guys for listening to the podcast. And peace.
See ya.